Hi guys. Good evening and welcome to the 3D show with myself, your host Desire. I hope you've had a wonderful week because I have. So today we have a very exciting, but I don't know, I want to say it's sensitive, but then it's still quite exciting show for you. The guest in the studio is just amazing. I've heard a little bit of his story and I'm honestly just blown away. So I can't wait to share it with you guys. But just before we go on, I just want to just talk very quickly about some news around the world. This week, or I think for like the past 2 weeks, unfortunately, we've been hearing news of just very sad happenings in Ghana. There was news of two 16-year-old boys who actually took the life of a 10-year-old boy in hopes of doing money ritual. And I mean, I don't know about you, but as a mum, that's just heartbreaking. Because for you to give birth and like bring up your child for 10 years and then because of greed or because of whatever, um, you know another person feels they have the right to take the life of your child away from you, and at such a young age, I don't even know. But there are many issues surrounding this story because I mean, what is prompting 16-year-olds to go out there and look for money ritual? These are the questions that we have to ask ourselves every day. What are we doing to inspire the youth around us? What examples are they seeing, and what is influencing them? Because we can't, I don't think it's fair for us to now blame the celebrities, the rappers and the musicians and the movie stars and everything, because before they see all of that, they see their uncles and they see the people in their neighborhood, they see their pastors, they see their brothers. So, what influence and what responsibility are we taking for the people around us, for the younger people around us? And then, we move on to another sad news, unfortunately. The young man in London, black boy, Richard, sickle cell patient who went missing I believe in March. And sadly this week news broke out that they found a body in a pond in Essex, and it turns out to be him. I mean, our biggest and warmest thoughts to the mum, because I mean, it's just heartbreaking to hear such a thing, to lose your child in such a way. So our prayers go out to both families of these victims, and we wish them well, and we hope that God will give them the strength to pull through this hard time. So just before we take a quick break, I just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, World Media Productions. They do photography. If you have a wedding coming, if you want to do posters, music videos, flyers, just anything in the media, graphic design, please give them a call on 0744 888 9490. That's World Media Productions. They have you sorted out when it comes to anything media. Funerals, outside is about to open, so please hit them up on 0744 888 9490 for all your parties and all your engagements coming up. And then listen, if you want to sponsor this show, I keep telling you, it's not cheap to look this good. Please, it's not cheap on my bank account. I don't have sugar daddy. Oh. So please, if you want to sponsor, whether it's hair, earrings, clothes, just in any way, please contact 07939 433 or you can also contact me on 07872348490. And then, well, last but not least, we have ITS. If you want to do your SIA badge in just 4 days, and then also if you want to do your CSCS card in just 1 day, the training and the qualification, please give ITS training a call on 079 Please don't go away. We'll be right back, and I will introduce my highly esteemed guest in the studio with me. Ladies, I've got you sorted. Again, my guest is hot, but we will find out if he's taken, divorced, or if he's available and ready to mingle. Outside is about to open though, so listen, we make like ready, you get me? But yes, stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Offer, Major say, Mindy, maybe oh, yes, my now only certificate. Offer, we are going to pay a certificate. Oh, offer for part, you to come on certificate. You're not a certificate. ITS Pro Center. I'm feeling now. Shani Padu, I tell you. Gonna problem is a pay. And they are young. If you have to stop for baby no for Canada was one man, would you about pay money? Now, can you say, would you trouble so I would tell him? And sign that man any ITS Pro Center. ITS Pro Center. Me dey find it is pro. I just say bia ya teaching crop ya mount SIA license. Now bet me dey road security. Now dey go pay adwuma. O hwe say dey na nkofo adwuma sign no wonya adwuma. Ba bia make am farmer wo aye ITS Pro Center. And what any bet your month here by 4 days perfect. Na on saka certificate. Enti adenti na esa wo sere na ka chem so wonya adwuma ye. ITS Pro Training Center no. Anya SIA nkwa na ye yo. Yes, CSCS card so account. CSCS card no. Just 1 day training pep. Now we use one. Unsabasa account health and safety certificate so. And do it why there. The different group we get we. Omo bi omo training. Omo akwa share adwuma se site. It mean me gana for. What you why there. And now what me kan. Bomo dia na frey. Our phone number we so. Phone number no 079 04 68 6944 079 04 68 6944. Bomadiana Free in the year. ITS Pro Training Center. Address 453 to 457 First Floor, Libridge Road, E10 7E. Buses do one foul. Bomadiana brand the year. And the unfound was over your bar. But so bet me a rock construction and security. And to the praying. Na ya kawo kasa. Yes, out of kasa so. Training center we. Na sakwe training center we. Tu ya. We sabe kasa certificate. Na on ya ko yi adwuma.
Hi guys, welcome back to the show. You're tuned into the 3D show with myself, Desire, your humble host, your very talkative, but listen, you love to hear my voice host. Yes. Guys, so I am in the studio with a legend, I should say, and I don't know, I'm just so excited for this interview. I posted earlier on in the week that this may be one of the most interesting interviews I've done so far. His name is Derek. He's about to share his life story with us, but today's topic is, what would you do? Because I've only heard just a little bit of his life story, and I just kept asking myself, like, what would I do? You know, like, what would I do if I was in that? Would I give up? Will I keep, you know, would I stay where I am? What would you do? And he will tell us what he did. But, you know, all through the show, please comment down below and let us know, what would you do if you ever found yourself in the situations that he found himself in? And, you know, by God's grace, he pulled himself out and he's here, like, just doing better than ever. I hope I haven't given away too much, but, you know, let's just meet him. Derek, aka Piper. I want to know where the Piper comes from. Derek, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Wow. How are you doing?
Well, I'm pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good.
You look good. Look like you're enjoying the summer.
By God's grace.
Yeah.
Everything's by His grace.
Good.
So we're here. We're alive.
Wow. So Piper.
Right. Piper.
What does it mean? Where is it from? Like, what's the story?
I'm trying to know where to start from. So Piper's initially name. I used to be an MC, a rapper.
Okay.
So I used to do reggae music back in the day, sound systems.
Right.
So initially it used to be Peter Piper, and then it got shortened. And when I went I moved from the ragged music to drum and bass jungle.
Okay.
And then it got shortened to Piper, and then the MC Piper, and that was.
Wow. I mean, it's so weird to just imagine you on the mic, you know, spitting bars and everything. Can you still do it?
I still do it, but
Can we get a little like just 2 bars, just 2 bars? Guys, don't worry, I'll pull it out of him. So okay, so that's where you got the name.
That's where the name come from. Obviously, like I said, I was doing a music thing. I was brought up in the Newham area.
Yeah.
So we had sound systems in the area. I was representing loads of different sound systems, and then went into drum and bass jungle. Started doing that, MCing, going all around the world, opened up doors for me all around the world, and then
Wow, so you went proper
I went
deep into
proper
them.
in.
Were you ever on the charts?
Well, I set up a record label.
Okay.
So I was the first drum and bass MC to set up a record label.
Wow.
At the time, so we had a few big hits on there. We had a few big DJs.
Yeah.
So one of our songs was featured in one of the American movies. So we've done pretty well.
Yeah.
We've done pretty well, and we're still going. I'm still doing music. I'm still doing my hands in everything.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Okay. So I don't even know where to begin. Your story. I mean, it's all nice, but that's not you're not just about that.
No, I'm not. I don't know. I'll start my story off a bit to you. So basically, I'm a guy who's initially from Newham, like I said. Initially started my journey. I was born in England. Stayed there for a bit with Ghanaian parents. Went back to Ghana. Went to school in Ghana for a couple of years.
Oh, what school did you go?
I went to Mati de Porres, and then I went to Motown.
Okay. So, that's Achimota, right?
Achimota, yeah.
Right. Okay.
So initially, we was living in Accra. So I was in Mati de Porres, and then I went to Motown for literally it was about 3-4 weeks, and then I got shipped back to London.
Right.
I wasn't moaning because at the time my mum was here, my dad was in Ghana,
Yeah.
my dad was in politics, and Rollins had just come, so a lot of things was going on. So.
Hey, you're telling your age there.
So I came back to England, moved to Chimford, living in Chimford Hall Estate. Just coming back to England, being an African kid at that time, it was the era where Africans wasn't really the so-called.
Yeah, was there racial tension?
A lot of racial tension.
Right, right.
And growing up and saying you're African, it was straight discrimination.
Yeah.
So my initial thing, and coming back from Ghana and going to school in Ghana as well, I came to England, started to go to school, but the education system was lapsed, so to speak.
Right.
What I learned in Ghana, I wasn't doing it here.
Yeah.
So when people were taking the mickey out of me, my straight defense was fight. So
Yeah.
I started fighting people, etc. Like I said, that was the days where, if you said you was African, straight away,
Your monkey.
boo-boo this,
yeah.
boo-boo that, this and that. So then from there, went to school in Leighton called George Mitchell. And then I started to mix with different crowds. I was mixing with different crowds when I was living in Chimford, but I started doing certain things that I wouldn't do on a normal day.
Right.
Then I moved to Forest Gate. At that time, it was the days of, gangs and I say gangs, but it was a group.
Was that before Postcode was?
Yeah, way before
Okay.
Postcode War. Them days you used to have Forest Gate Youth Club. You had things that was going on in the area for the youth.
Yeah.
But I was hard-headed. I was one of those hard-headed. I had great parents, but I choose to go the other way.
Right.
So for a good, cut a long story short, we could see again. But cut a long story short, I got involved in selling drugs and doing certain things on the street. Me and my friends and my codies, we kind of had Newham and certain areas in our hands.
You're quite popular because I've had 1 or 2 people. Is that Piper? Wow, is that Piper? So
yeah,
that's why I started off with Piper because.
If people know me,
Yeah.
A lot of people know me, but they know me as Piper. They don't know my name is Derek. So
Yeah.
when you say Derek, they're like, "Who's Derek?"
Yeah.
But so that was my life story for a bit. At the time, I was with somebody. I was married. Got married at a young age, but I was making a lot of money. I was doing a lot of things in the street, making a lot of money, doing things that I wouldn't encourage anybody to be doing now. And then, lo and behold, my mum and people always say, "There's always 2 ways. You're either gonna die or you're gonna end up in prison."
Yeah.
And then I got arrested. Ended up with a 10-year prison sentence. And whilst I was in prison, I decided, well, you know what? I've taken so much from the street. what do I need to do to better myself and be able to give back to the street? So whilst I was in prison, I went to university in prison.
Okay.
So I've done 3 degrees in prison.
3 degrees?
Yeah, I've done 3 degrees in prison. I've done a BTEC business and finance degree. I've done an oil and gas degree, and I'm a qualified chef. I'm a level 5 qualified chef.
3 degrees?
Yeah. And then
Wow.
I've done other little courses because my thing was, if I'm in prison, I'm going to use that time wisely, because
Wow.
whilst I was in the street, I never had time for myself.
Can we hold that thought? So, if you're just tuning in, you're tuned into the 3D show with myself, Desire, and in the studio I have with me Derek, aka Piper. You know, he's just here to share his story and his journey with us. And the topic of the show is, what would you do? Now, he's already told us, you know, he was born in London, England. He was taken back to Ghana. You know, he's found himself, I mean, I'm sure it's a big shock, culture shock. You know, what would you do at that point? And then he's found himself back here. And then, you know, from not even noticing that you're black to coming to a place where that's all you're being told, that, wow, you're being pointed, your skin color is being pointed out to you. And, you know, he's found himself having to defend himself through fighting. Now, my question is, what would you do? You're standing in court and you're being told that for the next 10 years you're going to be locked up. What would you do? Please comment down below as I go back to Derek, because what was going through your head at that like moment?
At that, if I'm honestly speaking, at that particular moment, my barrister at the time, my solicitor at the time, told me I was going to get 15 to 18.
Okay.
So when the judge said to me, 10 years, I was kind of relieved.
Okay.
I honestly speaking, I was kind of...
I mean, I get that.
Yeah, because
that
but at the same time, in my head is, I'm leaving my kids behind. I don't know if I'm going to come back. My mum's going to be alive. Wow. I don't know, you know, my son was about to start primary school. He was middle primary school, getting ready to go to secondary school. My daughter was getting ready to leave secondary school and go university. So everything I've prepped myself for and worked hard for all my life, I've just lost. Because everything I wanted to be there for, I wasn't going to be there for.
It's taken away from you.
It was gone. So, you know, at that particular time...
how do you not faint? How do you not break down crying? Like, how are you dealing with this?
You know, it's funny because I believe that it was my calling.
Okay.
My calling was to go to prison.
Right.
So
that's deep.
It's so, you know, it's sad to say, but it's the reality.
Okay.
Because I was at a place where, like I said, I was making so much money. It was either I was going to get killed, or something bad was going to happen to me. And at that time, I was in the process, I was in a transition in my life.
Right.
Because I was going to church, I just started funding a church.
Okay.
But I couldn't worship 2 gods. And it took me going to prison to realise that. Because I was going to church on a Sunday, but then I was meeting people outside the church to collect money.
Right.
And, you know, the God that we serve is a very jealous God. So, at that time, for me, when the judge says to me, look, 10 years, you're going to prison, I just thought to myself, you know what? Whatever God's made, it's God's will. You know, God said he's not going to put you through anything that you can't handle.
Yeah.
So I knew that it was going to be a challenge, but I knew that by the grace, I'll go through it and I'll come out of it.
Yeah.
And I did.
Wow. So, I mean, forgive my ignorance, but my only experience of prison is TV shows.
Okay.
I mean, is it ever as bad as we see, or is that in other countries and not England? What level of prison were you in? Were you in with the murderers and stuff? Oh wow.
So I started my sentence in Belmarsh. From Belmarsh, I went into Chelmsford, and then from Chelmsford, I done I think 2 years in Chelmsford, and then from Chelmsford I went into Hollisley Bay, which was open prison in Ipswich. But I was in BCAT prison. I had the chance to move from top security prison to a lower security prison, but I was pretty comfortable where I was.
Okay.
So I decided to do all my sentence in the BCAT prison.
Did you spend the 10 years?
Well, no, you get 10 years and you do half of it, so I had to do 5 years. So I'm currently on license as we speak.
Okay.
My license finishes in next week.
Wow.
So that means then I'll be a total free man.
For you, man.
But until
So how long has it been since you've been out?
I've been out of prison 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
And you've been on license for 3 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can't do nothing wrong. You can't look in the wrong direction. You can't get arrested for anything. You know, you've got to live because you're effectively still in prison.
Yeah.
You're in the hands of the government. Yeah. So if they say to you, right, you got to come back, you got to go back. So it's about living your life in a way that you don't get a recall.
So let's go back a bit. You know, you've come from Ghana. You know, like again, when you went, it was a culture shock, but you've come back and it's another culture shock because it's like, I've come from a place where, you know, I'm Derek.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, oh, the African guy.
Yeah.
You know, so what would you say, because you've already said your parents were, you know, well-to-do and they were fine. What would you say influenced you to get into that kind of lifestyle? Is it friends? Is it greed, lack of attention? What would you say?
I mean, my time when I was growing, when I was going through all this at the time, our parents at the time were coming to England and they were working, so it was mainly work. So they didn't have time. Well, my parents, my parents had like 3-4 different jobs, and at the time that was the time where some parents didn't have papers in England. So they were doing cleaning. From cleaning, they were going to another job, pressing. From pressing, they're going to another job.
Yeah.
So I had time to roam.
Right.
You understand? And
you were only child?
I was the only child here at that time.
Right, okay.
But my parents had other children, but at that time I was the only one here.
Okay.
So I had time to roam. And then it got to a stage where my parents, African parents at that time, didn't show a lot of emotion. My dad didn't show a lot of emotion.
They still don't.
This is it. So there wasn't, I never got anyone to tell me I love you. I never got anyone to tell you it's okay. You know, I've been bad. You can be better. I was at a time where my teachers were telling me I'm not going to be no good. I didn't have parents there because they were at work to say to me, don't listen to them.
Yeah.
My friends, I found solidarity with my friends on the street because they were getting told the same thing.
So
you
you just...
So we all bonded because we came from a common goal. They were black, I was black. They were being told they're no good. I'm getting told I'm going to be no good in school. Their parents are working, my parents are working. You know, we've got each other. And it became, so that's how it became, and they called it a gang. But it wasn't a gang, it was just a group of friends.
Like a brotherhood.
That got together. But we was because, you know, at that time, you want to wear the new trainers, you want to wear this.
Yeah.
My parents are not going to go and buy me, you know,
after doing cleaning for 12 hours.
they're not going to go and buy me £100 trainers or, you know, at them times probably about £60 trainers.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it. So I was, you know, and I had made myself a name on the street. So I had to represent, I had to keep up. I had to wear the clothes, I had to, you know, whatever way I was going to keep up, I had to keep up.
Yeah.
And it just went from one...
So you've said a lot of things which unfortunately are still issues affecting our youth today. Because, I mean, it's just a different time where, you know, your teachers said that today they can't say that because there's, you know, all these rights, but they tell you in so many words. And then, you know, but one thing I'm surprised you didn't say was peer pressure. Did you ever feel that?
I don't think I felt peer pressure because, like I said, for me personally, my struggles are different to other people's struggles. And I found myself, people coming to me more because they thought, you know, if I get in trouble, Derek's going to be there. Do you know what I mean? So maybe there was peer pressure for people to come into our play, but for me, I didn't. You
didn't feel. You see, this is it's. I bring this up because a lot of us today feel the pressure from social media. You know, and it's not even, you know, oh, I've got this and I've got that, but we scroll on Instagram and it's, you know, and then you see a 25-year-old, I just bought my property, and you're there, you know, coming from your second job, and you know, you're just about making your rent. So you know, these are all the pressures that are I feel like it's the same thing, just different times and it's just coming in different ways. So so you found yourself, obviously you have to keep up with the Joneses, you have to keep up the appearance, because now you're Derek, big
now
man.
I'm no longer Derek. I'm now.
Now you're Piper.
Now I'm Piper.
Now you're Piper.
Yeah,
so did your parents and your family know Piper, or how did you keep that away?
The family never really. My mum kind of knew that when she was out on the street, the respect that she was getting on the street.
Okay.
So she knew that she in her head she thinking, oh, my son, they're not but they didn't understand that. They didn't understand what I was doing on the street, because at home I was the good boy.
Right.
Do you understand? So
was that a conscious decision?
Yeah.
Because you felt. I mean, you couldn't have been proud of your street life if.
I'll say I was proud of my street life, but I wasn't proud of my street life coming from the background of my parents.
Right. Okay.
Do you understand? Because for my parents, it was more of a letdown.
Right.
Because I've come from a family where they've got high expectations. They've got high expectations of me being the first son.
Okay.
You understand? But yet still, the expectation they've got of me, I'm on the street doing something else.
Yeah.
My dad told me, you need to be an accountant, a doctor, a lawyer, and I wasn't none of those.
Right.
If honestly speaking, when I was growing up, I was an athlete, so I got scholarship to go to America to run.
Right.
But my dad didn't believe in that. So anything that I was interested in music, I had a scholarship for that, but my dad didn't believe in that. He wanted me to do what he wanted me to do.
Right.
Which is so now I look at it, because I'm a grown man now. Now I look at it and I think to myself, well, there was bitterness in me.
Right. Okay.
Because I never got to achieve
bitterness towards your parents.
Yeah, because I never got to achieve what I needed to achieve. I left home at the age of 15. I was living in Leeds at the age of 15 by myself.
Okay.
Because I wanted to live my life. I wanted to, at the age of 15, I'd experienced more things than anybody could experience. So it was, I picked up my bag one day and I moved from Plaistow to Leeds, and I was living in Leeds making money.
Right.
So it was hard times at the time, but for me it was, as a Ghanaian kid, I'll say I was one of those Ghanaian kids that your parents will say stay away from Ghana.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's like I was one of those, but now it's how the world changes. Now I'm the Ghanaian kid that people say, look at Derek, he's changed things around. So I believe that everything I've went through, I had to go through it.
There's a purpose for it.
There's a purpose. There's always a purpose.
So, okay, guys, you're tuned into the 3D show with myself, Desire, and we're talking to Derek, aka Piper, and his story is just amazing. It's a story of redemption. It's a story that is motivating. It's a story of just turning everything around, and he is literally an example that you are not your past. You can definitely change your life around, and whatever decision you make today will surely determine your destiny for tomorrow. So Derek, I don't even know if I should call you Derek or Piper or there's a lot of kids these days, there's a lot of young men that are finding themselves in the same situation as you. What are you telling them? Because I feel like everything that you have, and what do you, because I know you work with young people, what do you tell the parents? Where do you think the issue starts from, and where do you think the resolve for this issue starts from? Is it the parents first, or is it the kids first?
I work with young offenders at the moment. So what I do is I work with young kids, kids going into gangs, kids in gangs, kids. I say kids, young adults coming out of prison. I go to schools and I do talks. Most of the things that I'll say to kids right now is it's about your choices.
Right. Okay.
The choices you make in life is what When I was growing up, I made a lot of wrong choices. So when I speak to kids now, I try to help them to make the right choices. I believe in raising a village, living in a village.
It takes a village.
It takes a village to raise a child. And
we
now the common life that we live now is I can't tell off your kid. If I see your kid doing something on the street, I can't tell him go home, don't do this and don't do that. the kids growing up now don't have respect for the elders. Like how when I was growing up, we was always taught have respect for the elders.
Yeah.
So there's a big point in where I always say that there's a lot of kids having kids. So there's a lot of parents having kids who are not educated themselves. So if they're not educated themselves, how are they going to educate the kids?
How are they going to educate the
You
kids?
understand?
Yeah.
So, like I said, I remember when I was growing up, my dad used to every weekend I had chores.
Yeah.
I'll have to go and clean, hoover, do this, and there'll be times where my dad will take a little string, a rope, and he'll put it in the corner somewhere, and then he'll say to me, "Have you cleaned up?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've cleaned up," and he'll grab my ears and he'll take me there.
Yeah.
But now I used to hate him. Back then I used to think to myself, "What are you doing? But now I look at him and I think to myself, he was getting me ready, preparing me for life.
Yeah.
But a lot of us are not doing that with our kids. And when we seem to want to give our kids everything that we didn't have.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes. And I mean, is that too bad?
It's not too bad and it's not too good. Everything is done in moderation. A lot of parents nowadays are friends with their kids, and you can't be friends.
They're not
with your
parenting.
No, you can't be friends with your kids and then later on say to your kids, "You can't do this," because they're thinking, "Well, you're doing it,
Yeah.
or you've done it." Or, the perfect example of myself. That's why I had to come out of the game, because I have a 16-year-old son, and my son grew up with me in prison.
Right.
So if I never change my ways,
the cycle
lives on. I remember being in prison, and most of the things I used to always worry about. My son finishes school. The vital times for kids is between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock. That time, them going home from school on the bus. Most things happen within that time.
Right.
And when I was in prison, those times were the times I'd be trying to get on the phone to find my son and I realised unless I change myself, I can't change anybody. And most of all, I can't change my kid.
Yeah.
Because my son can't see me in prison telling him don't do that, but I've done it.
But
I'm
you're
in prison.
doing it, yeah.
It just didn't make no sense.
Wow. I mean, you've said something very powerful there. Unless you change yourself, like the change we want to see has to begin with us.
That's right.
And I think that's very, very important. Do you think that because I feel like your kids are quite lucky because you've gone through this system, so so when you're talking they can more or less relate to you. Did you ever think you could relate to your parents at all, because they're like, because you're first generation immigrant here? Yeah.
I could never relate to my parents.
I feel like that plays a big part as well.
Put it this way, like I said, my dad never told me he loved me until I was 21 years old. So I made an effort that since my kids were born, I tell them I love you every day. Because
is that important?
It's very important
for kids to hear that,
important.
right?
It's very important. I believe that your kid needs to know that he's loved or she's loved. Because if they don't know that they're loved, how are they going to love themselves?
Right.
And as I even speak of yourself, I say to people who say to me, "How are you?" I'm getting to love myself.
Yeah.
I can't give love to anybody if I don't love myself. You understand?
I feel like, you see, what you're saying is very important, but a lot of the times we tend to think that, boys don't need all that mushy stuff, you have to
boys are the ones who need it the most.
Like a lot of the times we overlook the boys because we think, the girls are the ones that need it, because if you don't tell them enough, they will go and then someone will make them pregnant. And it's like, no, the boys need it as well.
The boys need it most, because otherwise the boys are going to find that love on the street. And I found that love on the street because I was
in the form of money, drugs,
power.
power.
Do you understand?
Ego.
Right. That's where I found it. So if you're not giving it to them, they're going to go and find it somewhere else. So, it's always about, I always say to people, speak to your kids, talk to them, Sometimes, yes, open your heart out.
How do you draw that line though? Because I'm speaking with you about, my experiences and everything. But then what if, because let's face it, African parents is very hard to speak to them, because if at the age of 18 or 16 or whatever, I come to my mum and say, I've my boyfriend, I'm thinking of losing my virginity to them. Like their first expression will just put you back in your shell, and you'll just be like, do you know what, I was joking. But then really, that's an opportunity for you to. So how how do we build that bridge?
For me, I can only speak of my experience, and
Yeah.
And I've tried to keep an open relationship with my kids.
Right.
That they can not come to me and talk to me about everything. I can give them my honest opinion about things. I don't want my kids to come to talk to me and be afraid to talk to me.
Yes.
You know,
That's the case
and
for a
that's
lot
the
of
problem that we have. A lot of kids want to go and talk to their parents, but they're afraid.
Yeah.
And it's about telling the parents need to. This is why I say I can do a lot of work with kids. I do a lot of work with kids, but if I'm not working with the parent,
Yes.
all the work I'm doing goes to drain, because when they go back home, the parent's still the parent.
Yeah.
They haven't changed. So everything I do, you know, the kid will be with me. They'll be good. They'll leave here. They go home, and the parents will spoil everything.
The same frustration and all of that. Yeah.
It's working with this current climate we're in. You've got to work with both parents and kids. It's a balance.
What's been your experience with like the very typical African parent?
We're okay. We don't need no help. We're okay.
Yeah.
But then I have to say something.
Because I feel like they just spiritualize everything. Because it's like, you know, you find out your child is in a gang, you know, in the name of Jesus, the devil, my enemies. And it's like, no. You know, you spend all your free time in church. When was the last time you just said, let's take a walk down the road?
This is it.
You know, or come and sit next to me, let's watch EastEnders or something. I feel like sometimes, like that seems to be a recurring issue with a lot of young people these days. They just want to be seen.
But the problem as well is, like, you know, when you have families at home, one of the things I always made sure that I've done in my house is we always sat down together to eat dinner.
Wow.
We always sat on the dinner table to eat dinner together, because that time is that dinner time that you have with your kids is so important. It's so valuable, because your kids are coming from school, they're coming from wherever, you're eating, everything is open. You're able to talk.
Yeah.
You're able to have that 15-20 minutes that you normally won't have with your kids.
Yeah.
You know, so I always say to people, try and just, you know, like you said, go out for a walk, do things, because African parents, my parents weren't going to say to me, Kwame, let's go to
McDonald's. There's rice at home.
You know, it's not going to happen. But now it's funny, because now our generation are starting to do it.
Yeah.
Because our generation saw where our parents went wrong. But we're doing it a bit too much.
A bit too much.
Yeah, because we're subsidising for the bits that we didn't have. And we're saying, right, we're giving everything. I remember my dad said to me one time when I was growing up, he said to me, don't think you're going to grow up to come and spend my money. I'm going to spend all my money before I die. But you know what? At that time, I was upset.
Yeah.
But it gave me an incentive.
Okay. To make your own.
To make my own. Never to rely on what my parents have got. Do you understand? Even if my parents left me, I've got things and they've left it for me, it's not for me. What belongs to me goes to my kids.
Yeah.
You know, and I keep telling the Ghanaian and black people I deal with, let's try and create generation wealth. It's about generation wealth. It's not about, we all want to be rich.
Yeah.
But it's about generation wealth.
Yeah.
So if we can create our own things and get all the, when I work with these kids, and I say to most of these kids on the street who are making loads of money, but they're doing illegal stuff.
Yeah.
I'm saying to them, well, you are an entrepreneur, but you just don't understand it.
You have all the skills. You're just channeling it into the wrong
way. So that's where I come in, and I then show them how they can use their skills to channel it into the right direction. But it's it's a calling.
Wow.
It's a calling, and it's a calling for me that I never thought I'd be working with kids down the line, but I believe that that's what I was meant to do. I'm meant to give back. Whatever you take back from the street, you give back to the street.
Yeah.
And God sent me to prison, said to me, go to prison. You know, when I went to prison, so many things happened in my life in prison. But it never broke me. It made me stronger. And
hold that thought. Hold that thought. Guys, if you are just tuning in, of course, you're tuned into the 3D show where your decision today determines your destiny tomorrow. My name is Desire, and our guest is Derek, aka Piper. He's just, I don't know, he's just amazing. I'm literally in awe just listening to his testimony, his journey, and you know, just his life story. It's so encouraging, and I hope you watching are being encouraged as well. So what has been the lessons that you have learned?
I've learned a lot of lessons.
Yeah, just give us your top, I don't know, top 3.
Top 3 is choices.
Right.
Make right choices. Second would be instincts. Always go follow your instincts.
That's weird coming from a man.
Yeah, but it's the truth.
Because there's always women preaching instincts.
Because you know why
Wow.
I say that? I believe that, you know, we're all gods. God lives within us.
Right, yeah.
God
He made
talks
us in
to
his image.
Yeah, and he talks to us. And he talks to us through instincts. If I had listened to God, I wouldn't be in prison.
Wow.
To the day that I got arrested, God was talking to me to the point where I got arrested. Even when I was leaving my house, he was talking to me, well, you don't need to go, you don't need to do this. But I kept not listening. And then when I got arrested and I ended up in prison,
You're like,
a couple of years, months later, I realised, I was like, oh my God.
yeah.
But like I said, I wasn't in tune to God. I wasn't. So
But he was always there.
he was always there. He was always there, and for me, it was a thing where he says to me, "Look, you want to be this Mr. Piper,
Yeah.
but I've got a different mission for you."
Yeah.
And like I said to you earlier, I was always fluctuating church because at one point I wanted to be a pastor.
Wow.
I put
It's not too late.
It's never too late. But I believe that my calling now is to testimony,
Yeah.
to speak to kids,
Yeah.
and to just help the youth. But yeah, it's
And the third lesson?
third lesson. Love yourself. Love yourself, because if you love yourself, you won't put yourself through certain things. You know, when you're going to do something, you think to yourself, you know, do I really need to do that?
Right.
You know, do I really need to? It's almost like crossing the road. You're going to the shop to go and buy a Snickers and your bus is coming.
Yeah.
Which one do you do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Like chocolate.
But you know that you need to go home because you need to go and look after somebody. So
Yeah.
you've got to respect that. And it all comes down to making the right choices. So I ran it up and say just about choices.
Yeah.
Choices in life
It's what brings us to our where we are.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because we all have goals, but you can't get your goal unless you make certain sacrifices, certain choices.
Of course,
and
yeah.
That's all. On that note, that's what I'll say. The three things, be choices. I think.
Wow, guys, you've heard it here, right from the mouth of the famous, the legend Piper. There's three lessons that he's learned, and you know, it's all about the choices you make in life. Because, like he said, you can set goals for yourself. You know, there's many of you watching. There's a lot of young people out there, and you know, mum is not noticing me. You know, how comes, you know, I'm getting the grades, and you know, nobody's noticing. Okay, fine, I'm gonna get in trouble, but they're still not noticing. But in all of that, you still have a choice. Because remember, mommy and daddy, they've lived their lives. Exactly. You know, but you have your life to live. So what choices are you making today? And when you are making these choices, are you listening to that inner voice? You know, are you listening? Are you in tune with whatever it is that you believe in, the universe, God, your instincts? You know, and then I feel like the most important thing that Derek has said today is to love yourself, because if you love yourself, you are not going to put yourself in danger. You're not going to put yourself in certain situations that's going to land you in a place where your freedom is going to be taken away from you and all of that. I mean, of course, in Derek's case, he, you know, even though he found himself in such a place, it wasn't too late for him to make the right choices, like getting 3 degrees. What made you, like, I know you mentioned, I've got time, but still, there's a lot of people that go to prison and they wouldn't think to study.
For me, you know what? Okay, again, it boils down to my son and my daughter. Before I went to prison, I was married. I was married for 20 years.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Okay. You are really telling your age. Like, I'm so tempted to ask him, how old are you? I won't do that.
I'll tell you that. I'll just say that my birthday was just gone, 6th of March.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
you're really a great man.
Yeah.
Happy belated.
Thank you. But before I went to prison, like I said, I was married. My wife at the time, she was going to uni. She was working. She had a PhD. She had a doctor's degree. She had loads of stuff. And we had a nice house. We was doing all the things. But I remember one day my mum
Did she know you were into drugs?
Because
Okay.
I was with her from all day, from we was 15 years old.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, we've been together from school, childhood. She was my childhood sweetheart. So I met her, we fell in love.
That's
from that age.
amazing.
Yeah, and then we grew up together. And I remember one day my mum called me. My mum said to me, Kwame, it's like, your kids see your wife going to work every day. They come to you, they see your living room, they see your wife's pictures, this and that. It's all right that you're bringing them the money, but they don't see you do anything.
Yeah.
And it took me a while. So when I went to prison, and I sat down for a while, and when you're in prison, you start to think about everything that people say.
That's all you can do,
That's
right?
all you can do. And I sat down and I thought to myself, you know what? She's right. Because even though I was the provider, my kids don't see me go to work. They don't see me do anything. They see, all they know is, we need this, daddy buys, we need that, daddy buys, we're going on holiday, we do this. But they see their mum wake up every morning and go to work.
Yeah.
So what am I?
Exactly.
So I thought to myself, you know what, I need to make my kids proud of me. I need to make my kids know that, you know what, this is what daddy does.
Yeah.
And daddy's not the street person that everybody, you know, my kids, at that time my kids are grown, so they know, they know that, you know what, daddy's one of those big guys off the street. And I didn't want my kids to, my kids to be
That's not your legacy.
It's not my legacy. So my legacy for me was like, you know what, let me go to school, let me study, let me be able to say to my son, you know what, this is what I do. And show him the certificate, this is what I've done. Because as much as I'm bringing the money, if I ain't got no paperwork to show, it don't make no, you know, if my son turns around and says to me, Daddy, I bought a £500 trainers and I haven't given him the money and he doesn't work, where does he get the money from?
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying? So I've got to eradicate that straight away. And I put myself into education. I just decided to study and study and study and study.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, I didn't want to come out of prison the same person I went in prison with.
Of course.
You know, I remember being in prison and it was one of those, all the kids that used to come, I say kids, young adults that used to come to prison, I found a way, I used to be able to, we had good rapport, and they always used to listen to everything I was saying. I didn't understand that I had that touch with them.
Yeah.
And growing up as a kid in Forest Gate, I used to go to Forest Gate Youth Club. I must have been about, I don't know, 13. And there was a guy in there, Colin, and he said to me, them times, he goes, why don't you think about growing up to be a youth worker? And I said, what are you talking about? Worker? I'm a bad man from...
How much do you get paid?
Do you know what I mean? But when I was in prison,
and
I started speaking to, like, kids would come and they'll come and talk to me and they told me their problems, and I started thinking to myself, maybe this is what, because it happened naturally, it was organic. So I thought to myself, well, maybe this is the path I'm meant to go. So I started mentoring people from prison.
Yeah.
And then I just started from there mentoring, and I started doing the courses. I thought, you know what, let me do all the drugs awareness courses because I want to be able to spot a drug addict.
Okay.
Let me do all this awareness course.
Did you ever do drugs yourself?
Yeah, I did drugs before.
Okay.
I used to smoke weed. I probably took an ecstasy now and then. But I remember the first time I took ecstasy, I didn't even know it was somebody gave it to me out of my crew. So I've done all that before. And again, like I said, I went to prison. The day I went into prison, this is the day I stopped smoking.
Wow.
These are all the things that the Lord was trying to get me to do when I was out. I wasn't doing it because my attention wasn't focused on it. My attention was focused on money.
Yeah.
You know, and like he had to take me away from them things.
All the distractions.
For me to be able to sit down and say, right, you know, you get a kid and you sit a kid down and say, right, listen.
Yeah.
And that's what he done to me. Took me somewhere, took all the distraction, took me to prison, went through the prison system, got divorced when I was coming into prison.
Yeah.
So again, that was one of the low points in my time in prison because my childhood sweetheart, who I'd been with, loved all my life, whilst I was in prison, you know, in my head in prison, I'm going to do my sentence, I'm coming back to my wife and kids, I'm coming back to my house, and then to come out, just before, a year before I'm coming out of prison, my wife, I got divorced. Wow. So I went through, and then my best friend at the time, which was my gran in Ghana, she died.
Oh,
so
no.
I had loads of things going on whilst I was in prison, but it didn't affect me.
Okay.
And because I had found my faith.
Right. Right. So your focus had changed.
My focus had changed because I'd found my faith and I'd found something that was truly me. It's like you get footballers playing football. They get paid to do what they love doing.
Yeah.
And what I loved doing was talking to kids and helping.
Yeah.
And getting
making
these
a
knowledge.
difference.
Yeah, because I believed at the time knowledge is power. So I had to get all the knowledge in my head so that when I came out, I'm able to come and do shows like this. Wow. I'm able to go and talk to kids because what I tend to find was that if you have people, these kids won't listen to people that've got the degrees.
Yeah.
They want to hear from people who have got the experience, who have been on the shoe, who have got the hard graft, so that we speak the common language.
Right.
If I'm not speaking the same language as the kids,
yeah,
they're not gonna listen to me.
Yeah.
And my you know, since like I said, I came out of prison 3 years ago. Well, it'll be 3 years and a couple of weeks. I'm able to set up a mentoring company, Be Heard as well.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. Like, so what are you doing now? Like, where are you now?
Now I've got a mentoring company called Be Heard as One.
Be Heard as One,
so
yes.
we work with youth, we work with kids, we go to schools. We also have mentors that work within the company.
Okay.
So for families that need mentors, we can send mentors.
Is it free?
At the moment, we're getting grants, but the grants is not coming as far. So we're working 50-50.
Okay.
You know, with the youth clubs and all that is free.
Okay.
So we've got the youth clubs running in Canning Town, and we're coming to start one up in Aldersbrook.
Okay.
That's all going to be free. That's all free.
Okay.
But the mentoring, because I've got to pay for the staff to get there.
Yeah.
But for me, it's not about money. It's not about money for me. So I go to schools. I'll come and speak to the kids and not charge them money
free.
Because it's the calling.
So if somebody wants to perhaps donate towards your mentoring program and your youth, how do they do that?
We've got the social media official Be Heard as One on Instagram. We've got the website www.beheardasone.org. We've got the Twitter page official Be Heard as One. Yeah, and we've got my
Be Heard, hey.
Be Heard.
This we're Ghanaians here. This Cockney English. Be Heard.
Be Heard. Be Heard as well. So the abbreviation that we try to say is being the voice of the youth. So what we we speak what the youth wants.
Needs to hear.
We hear that, we listen to the youth, and then we put it into practice. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
Okay, amazing stuff, guys. You know, you are tuned in, of course, to the 3D show with myself, Desire. We've been listening to the journey and the life story of just the beginning, because he's still got a whole lot of life left in him. By no means is this, you know, the complete story. You know, we have Derek, aka Piper, with us in the studio, the CEO of Be Heard as One. So we have a couple of comments here actually. Nana Kwame says we need people like Derek to learn life experience from. You've got Dacha Hema Ifya. She says, you look very beautiful, dear. Your dress is classy. Thank you. I can't flip my wig too much because it might just fall off. And then we've got Kwame Baden. Kwame says, watching live. We've got Godfrey Francis Asiedu says, powerful testimony. George Bochwe says, love this guy, my brother Piper. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Just before we go, the platform is all yours. What do you have to tell people out there? This is your camera. Talk to somebody that is thinking of, you know, listen, I'm tired of being broke, you know, working all these hours, you know, I look on social media, everybody's making it, you know, like, why don't I just do fraud? Why don't I just do this? Why don't I just do that? And then you've got the young children as well that are looking at their mom and it's like, I'm here. Nobody is looking at them. Talk to them.
I'll say for the young kids, you're not on your own. There's always a voice. There's always people here for you to speak to. Anytime you feel down, just find somebody that you find confident in. Speak to them. Don't hold anything within you, because you might not find it now, but you might hold resentment in you, and it will last in you for years to come. So be free, speak. Be freely and speak, because what you are today is not what you are tomorrow. Just keep your focus keep your goals, and make right choices.
Wow. Amazing. Guys, I hope you have been blessed as much as I have. Listen, I feel like Derek is the best guest for, to represent the name of the show, because the name of the show is a 3D show. A lot of people think it's because my name start with D, but no, it just means that your decision today will always determine your destiny for tomorrow. Right. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Derek.
Thanks for having me.
It's been amazing, and I hope we can convince you to come back again.
Oh, most definitely.
Perfect. Guys, just before we go, if you have, a funeral, a party, an engagement, a wedding, music video, if you have a YouTube channel that you want help with, please contact World Media Productions on 0744 888 9490. And also, if you want to do your SIA badge in 4 days and then your CSCS card in just 1 day, the training for it, please contact ITS Training on 07904686944. And then, of course, if you want to sponsor this show with just anything you have, please contact 07939 433-028, or you can contact me directly on 078-7234-8490. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Thank you for all the comments, all the people that were sharing and everything. Guys, don't forget, we are this close to coming out of lockdown. I'm still keeping tabs on all of you. If you do anything and the government says we can't come out, I will come and look for you, because I'm tired of wearing wigs. I need to cut my hair. I'm looking forward to April 12th, May 17th, and then June 21st, when all restrictions will be lifted. But in the meantime, don't forget to wear your mask, keep your distance, sanitize your hands, and of course, if you have nowhere important to go, stay your bum at home. This has been the 3D show with myself, Desire, and of course, our lovely guest that we had today, Piper, aka Derek. Guys, have a wonderful week, and then of course we will meet the same place, same time next week. I believe we're talking about finances, insurance, and all of that good stuff. So tune in, same time, same place, 6 p.m. British time. Yes, I will see you then. Good night and God bless.